Welcome back to the second part. In the first part of this tutorial series, we are kind of focused on how to create the single layers of those drum tracks, of those drum sounds. We just used the group as a container over here. We didn't apply any effects yet on the drumming. We just we replicated all those drum elements from this arrangement, and we kind of placed them here as placeholders, and just to have an idea of how to get to this part over here. And later we are going to have a look at the arrangement of the drums. But now we are going to close the drums group and we are going to have a look at the instruments group. And I'm also going to group those elements out for now, because I want to have a little more overview over here. I'm going to call it new drums and take it out. Okay, so what else is left in this track to focus on? We have a vocal part over here, we have a bass sound over here, and we have several lead sounds, pads, and those kind of stabs. And let's start with the verse. What happens in the verse over here? Let's loop this region by right-clicking loop selection, and I take out the drumming. That's what we got. In this track, I want stuff to sound kind of human, organic, and natural. I'm not trying to make it as loud as possible. I'm not trying to make it as powerful as possible, but I'm trying to create sort of an atmosphere that I like. I'm not trying to squeeze out the last inch of every sound, but try to make it a little sound like almost live, like someone was playing electronic music live or something. That is the idea behind this track. I'm just using Ableton Suite. I'm using a couple of drum samples from the D Premium package, but you can use your own drum samples. And I'm also using Massive, like that synthesizer over here. I'm using that for the bass, for example. So let's have a look at what the bass is doing actually. And let's turn off all the effects. You can see there are quite some. Well, let's quickly group them by Command G, group. Now they are grouped, and now I'm taking them out, all of them. So now they're off. Usually you would start your bass by creating a new MIDI track, naming it bass, for example, and then you drag, in this case, you drag your Massive plugin, third-party plugin, onto that channel, and then that's what you got in the first place. And then we need those MIDI notes. I'm going to show them in a minute. They are already being played by that instrument. And now you can go ahead and create your own bass sound, for example, starting with the init patch from Massive, going down one octave with the first oscillator, taking out the other oscillators. Maybe go down one more. And you could use a low pass filter over here. Tell it to send everything from the oscillator 1 to filter 1, put it into serial mode, and you won't hear this on your laptop speakers now because we're in the bass area, and bass sounds, they're not supported too much on tablets and laptops. So make sure you have good speakers or headphones on from now on. And that would be already a basic bass. So what is this bass doing? Basically playing this pattern over here. You can copy that pattern quickly or use your own pattern or something. But let's go back to the actual bass track I made for this track. Check out what else is happening on that one. So that's basically how I started that one. I have those notes. I have a Massive playing a square wave over here from the square saw wavetable 2 It's playing another smooth square wavetable, and it's playing a sine wave for the lowest frequencies over here. We're going down with the sub basses. It is quite often made with a sine wave. And over here you can see there's a low pass filter applied a little bit, and there's a little bit of a DAF filter going on, but we're actually not using that one. So we mix only to filter 1, and we're applying a little bit of a tube on top over here, a classical tube. And we're also adding one insert effect, sample and hold over here. And that's basically the bass sound, warm kind of sound. And once again, you could go ahead and check with, like I said on our Facebook page the other day, we posted this image of how to EQ your frequency range for several different instruments and sounds. And over here you could go and check out what do we actually have to do with the bass sound. With the bass sound, if we want to get rid of muddiness, we can cut out stuff between 250 and 800. If we want to add a little bit of presence, we can add stuff between 1K and 6, and high presence maybe with 6 and 8, a little bit of hiss over there. Roundness between 100 and 250. I actually want to have roundness inside of this bass. So let's see what it does in this area. Let's have a look with another equalizer. What is going on there? So we have a lot of sub already. Can make a little low cut over here. And then we can go ahead and check out the stuff between 250. Roundness over here, but take care, watch out for muddiness. So here that's how we're getting it muddy. Let's listen to only what we are doing here. Also, maybe I want to get out a little bit of the mud. I would do something like this, more or less. I want to make it a little rounder. I can go ahead and do something like add a little bit in here. Actually, with that sounds pretty muddy as well, so you gotta take care and watch out a little bit. I'm taking out this element because we already have a group of effects applied over here. Let's quickly check out what they're actually doing. So this compressor over here is taking the sidechaining information. Like over here I have this sidechain kick. I'm not playing this channel, but I'm using the MIDI information over here, 1, 2, 3, 4, always on 4 to the floor on C3. I'm using that MIDI information to control the sidechaining compression over here, and I'm taking down the threshold quite a bit. And it's working over here, it's reducing the gain. Over here I have a utility taking down the volume a little bit for what's going to come. So you see I'm adding in a little bit to add some of the roundness here. I'm taking down a little bit of the lowest stuff. I'm applying another couple of low cuts over here with auto filters. You could do this, like 20 ways of doing this, and that's only one way of doing that. Then I'm cutting out the higher frequencies over here because somehow I have other things in those frequencies that are more important than the sound of the bass. So I'm using those lead sounds over there, for example, and later I'm using stabs and pads, so I'm not really interested in having my bass like cover those frequencies over there. So let's play the bass together with the drums. Doesn't sound too spectacular at the moment, but Here we were just looking for something warm, low, slightly noticeable, not too present. Now we are going to the instruments. There's a real signature element over here in this track, and I think that's this massive synth over here basically playing those notes. So let's loop this area over here and solo this. We are playing B3 C4. I'm going to have a look at the massive patch in a second. We have what we have here, and that will repeat almost on all these tracks over here. We have this chain of compressor, a little bit of gluing. We are trying to glue it a little bit together with the glue compressor. So that's the usual Ableton compressor, and then we have another glue compressor over here. Then we are applying some low cuts, cutting out some of the low frequencies over here and making sure that we have a little bit of interesting stuff going on in the panorama of our mix. So we are going from left to right and from right to left with the signal. And then I'm adding, like, I'm really, there's a nice shelf over here. You could, a couple of ways of doing that. You could use this filter again, for example, but I did it like that over here. I got rid of mid-lows over here and took out a little bit of the highest frequencies. Over here somehow later I noticed something is missing now in the mix. I added in a little more of those again. Actually, it's a work process over here. Sometimes you start and then you go into mixing later and then you add in a little bit of what you've actually already had taken out. Then we have a reverb playing as well, pretty long decay time on that one, and dry wet up quite a bit. So and a little bit of utility. Just sometimes I use utilities to control volumes because sometimes it's handy to keep this not automated and doing your automations with a utility. But well, actually, you can take this out. It's not interesting here. Okay. Anyways, let's have a look at the massive patch. And that's actually one of our electronica massive patches. We have massive patches for deep house, EDM, another deep house electronica, tropical house, future house volume 1, volume 2, and tropical house volume 2. So we have those packs on our website. You can get them there. We have this tiny shop in our blog and you can check it out if you want. So we are using, over here in this track, I'm using some of the patches I made for this package for Deep House Electronica. I made that together with Tom, and Tom is very lazy at giving names to presets. Anyways, we have PML leader, it's over here, leader. It's this patch, and you can like load that. If you load that in, that's what you get. We have a saw, square to saw, but we're using the wavetable position of the saw over here. Amp is fully up. We are pitching down -12 semitones. We have another saw over here. We have another saw over here. We are basically playing the same thing 3 times over here. We are not really using the white noise. We have a little filter, a low pass filter going on over here. We are not really using the second filter. And we have a delay and a reverb on top of the sound, slightly, and a little bit of high shelf EQing. And we have a sine shaper insert effect down here. And well, basically we have a long full envelope over here, and that one controlling the first filter is a little bit lower, just the other ones aren't being used too much on that patch. So that's how you get that sound. Reverb, delay, controlled over here via macro controls. Delay up a little bit, reverb up a little bit. and a little bit of vibrato over here. You can see a little bit of vibrato going on. What is happening on top? It's basically exactly the same sound, just doing something, you know, adding its own rhythm as well. It's a little quieter than the other one, and it's basically using almost the same effect chain. I think it is the same effect chain, like that one, so you can quickly copy that one if you like. And we are also using this leader over here. So I think the main difference is we're taking out the auto filter a little more on that one, just filling it up a little bit and making it kind of interesting in that chord. So see, if you're playing it without the sidechain, you have so much emphasis on the attack of the first note. Like here, you're actually piling a lot of stuff on top of your kick that really doesn't help your sound too much. So we're getting rid of that a little bit by applying the sidechain compression. And then we are punching it a little bit, and also the panning is pretty nice. See how it's going from right to left. We're losing a lot of the sound without this EQ. And those are just applying slight changes, reverb. Right now we just have the delays and the small initial reverb from the massive, but I wanted a lot more reverb, and I kind of figured it was easier to accomplish with the Ableton reverb. Actually make it off in massive and just use that one. And we have 5.7 seconds. So what else is there? We have this thing called rubber. It's playing those chords, E, B, E. It's giving a little bit of drive here, and rubber is actually, I think that's an Ableton patch. Let's look for it quickly and check out mallets. There it is. It's that sound, and we are using it in here. We are applying a little bit of it's the operator. We are applying a little bit of low cut, low shelf, a little bit of chorus. So you know how to get this chorus effect. You just drag it from here on there, and then by default, that's how it comes along. And I think the only thing that's changed, it's only up 10% in here. That's basically what happened. And there's a simple delay over here. And the position is 1.12 and 1.4. So I want to be late on that one, and I want to be on time here. Let's go to the first pad. That's a patch I made for the operator. It's playing one single note over here, so it's not really taking all its potential. Let's see what it does over here. Let's maybe restart with that one first. Yeah, it's gets a little more clear. So what is happening here? I'm basically using a simple operator. I'm grouping it. So if you use an instrument like the operator, let me quickly create a new MIDI track, drag on an operator. We'll take those MIDI notes from the pad and copy them onto that track. So here's a new track, and we are playing this chord B3, G3, E3, B2. So that's what operator gives us at the start. Now what I did, I grouped it, and I'm opened up this macro section over here. And I don't think I'm using the sine wave too much. I actually want to have a little bit of square sound, and later I want to have a little bit of side chaining here and a reverb and stuff. So let's check what we are doing here. What we are doing here, we have a saw 64 wave on the A oscillator. We are using a square 16, and we are using a little bit of white noise on the third one. So saw, what's that? Saw 64, square 16, and sine. Saw 64, square 16, and white noise over here. Something like this. So how do we get from here to this sound? Right now it doesn't sound nothing like that sound, but we are not there yet. First thing we can do is map the frequency of the filter from this operator to macro 2, for example. And you see where I'm going with it. I'm selecting the sidechain over here, and you can macro the threshold to map it to 4. And well, we need a reverb as well. We're in the wrong section over here. Reverb, warm long, should do the job. I don't like that one too much. I'm taking the one, my own patch over here. That's better. So size is up to 100, quality is up to high, shape is 50, pre-delay is 2.5, decay time is 3.6, stereo is 100%, and dry wet is up, but I'm going to map the dry wet to macro 3. Okay, and I'm also going to add in a chorus, because that's what I did with the other one as well. Here's the chorus. Let's place it there. And let's map the dry wet of the chorus to the first macro. Chorus. Now we have a pretty powerful tool, because we can use this as a pad, we can use it as a lead, and we can just use it for, stuff that's between those two. Anyways, and you see the filter over here. My filter is really down low to 91. So with this filter down so low, we are focusing really on the lower frequencies, and we need to get up the volume in order to really get them clearly into our mix. If you adjust those levels over here, you're getting a little more saw, you're getting a little more square, or a little bit more white noise. Just play around and try it out yourself. Later we are using a little bit of utility to adjust the volume. There's reverb, as I showed you, and there's a auto filter over here, and there's a little bit, I'm emphasizing a little bit, I'm putting in a high shelf basically over here with this EQ8. High shelf. And over here we have exactly the same instrument, but we are just playing E2 by its own and trying to emphasize that note a little more. I'm getting rid of what I just created because we have the same thing in pad operator inside of that track over here. One thing is still missing, and that's pad frozen FM over here, and that's basically an audio sample. I think it's the FM8. Playing the same pad, walking kind of pad sound. I've sampled this out of the FM8 and placed it in here. So if you have the FM8, that should be somewhere in there. You should be able to achieve this kind of sound, but of course you can achieve sounds like those with other instruments as well, and you could also do it with Massive or with the operator. But I kind of like the movement in there, and the fact that it sounds a little bit reversed from time to time, and then it kind of isn't reversed afterwards. So in Ableton, if you want to figure out the notes of something like that, and you don't want to trust your ears, you can also try to drag it onto a MIDI track and ask it to convert it to harmony. But Ableton is not really always doing a great job at this. So it depends a little bit on the material you're trying to apply this on. But this looks pretty clean actually. So we can check out what Ableton found out over here. So we have E3, B2, G2, and E2. Well, that's more or less exactly our pad. B3, G3, E2, E3, B2. Notes are definitely in there. So we could try to replicate this sample with another element. That's how you can actually rebuild tracks. That's also an element for rebuilding tracks that I'm using heavily, because I like studying tracks by rebuilding them and trying to figure out how to make those kind of genres. Anyways, so we are done with the verse over here. We have covered all the elements. We had this rubber element from the operator over here. We had those lead sounds from Massive over here. Another lead sound over there. That's basically what we did with that. And now we can go on and have a look at the break part. So in the break part, I'm keeping those elements I'm keeping this element, I'm just taking out the bass and I'm adding in a vocal sample. And I'm adding in a little bit of drum, just keeping some of the drum elements, mainly the claps. I have this vocal sample over here, it's Milton Friedman.
Well, first of all, tell me, is there some society you know that doesn't run on greed? You think Russia doesn't run on greed? You think China doesn't run on greed? Is it really true that political self-interest is nobler somehow than economic self-interest? You know, I think you're taking a lot of things for granted. Just tell me where in the world you find these angels who are going to organize society for us. Well, I don't even trust you to do that. I don't even trust you to do that. I don't even trust you. I don't even trust you.
It's not this huge drop or something, it's just like moody. I'm putting in this scratching thing in the second part of the break, and I'm also adding in this white noise over here.
You know, I think you're...
And the white noise broom, like I explained this in part 1. And now we are adding in some of those elements, keeping a little bit of this organic thing, like somebody hitting on a bench or something.
You know, I think you're taking a lot of things for granted. Just tell me where in the world you find these angels who are going to organize society for us.
And over here, we are adding in some stab sounds. So we, later in the chorus section, that's basically the first part, like the first 4 bars of the chorus section. And I'm playing them here already, but I'm getting up the filters with this automation over here. You can see over here, I guess, frequency filtered from 400 Hertz to to up to everything, and that's basically this this auto filter over here. So watch it go up. So G3, E2, B2, and added in sharp F3. And the entire chord of the stabs going like this. And together with the bass. So we are playing exactly the same pattern with the stabs. Bass pattern is being played with the stabs over here. And the stabs are also an operator, almost the same operator as the one I showed you and created before. We have the saw 64, over here we have the square 16, and over here we have the white noise. But the square 16 gets a lot more level than the saw, and that's why it sounds like a square sound over here. And we have a little bit of cut-off going on, 800, so that's a lot more than before. Chorus is open at 35, the reverb is open, and LFO rate is actually not being applied, so you can ignore that. And we have the same chain again, chorus, compressor, utility, taking up the volume a little bit over here, sidechaining, compression. Just really to respect the kick here, not much more than that. And then there's a reverb on top. One of my favorite reverb settings for the Ableton reverb is that one. The chorus, I think I forgot to delete one of those 2 choruses, because we don't need it 2 times, but anyways. Now the sound has this figure and maybe it's fine like that, but not really necessary. Anyways, there's an auto filter over here. That's the one being automated. And just to catch peaks, there's a limiter here, but I don't think it's not really doing anything. It's just, you know, just in case something bad happens. Let's see when it starts working. So we need to get a lot louder than the actual place where we are right now. So this limiter is actually over here, not really doing anything. Anyways, over here, that's actually a mixing, already a mixing setting. I tried to emphasize this high shelf in the mix a little bit more. And then over here, I used the EQ8, slightly different, because I wanted to like get rid of the low mids in the middle, and I'm using it in mid-side mode over here. So I'm taking out the middle a little bit. Let's solo it over here and put it on headphone mode to see what we are cutting out. And let's play it. So that's what I'm taking out. In the middle, I'm keeping the other elements above. I'm adding a little bit of side in the top frequencies. So I'm cleaning up the middle, and I'm putting those stabs a little more to the sides in the background. And what else do we have here? We have the same pattern played by a thing called clouds. That's clouds and bells. Over here placed into a sampler, and it's from the Sound Objects library pack. I think you're getting that pack with your Ableton Suite account. You can download that from ableton.com, and if I look for clouds in the sounds, yeah, it's in the Sound Objects Lite package, and it's basically that sound. I put them in here. Heavy sidechaining, auto panning, a little bit of belling out of this muddy frequency over here, auto filter up, heavy low cut over here, big reverb on top. But this low cut is actually different from that low cut. So that low cut over here applies on everything, on the sum of everything of this track, but this one only takes down the middle again. So I'm cleaning up the middle over here again with this pad, and I just put this pad to the top frequencies of the middle, and I'm keeping it on the sides over here. And then on top of that, I'm adding 5.4 seconds of reverb with a dry wet of 35%, stereo and size up, and there's a little bit of delay. And we take down the overall volume over here. See, if I put on this equalizer and I put it off, you can really see the difference between like the sound really leaves your middle of the panorama and goes back into like if you were to place an orchestra, like people from an orchestra on their seats in this half circle thing, and you were to tell this guy over here, please sit back in the back and on the sides, please. Something like go to the back and walk from left to right with this rate over here. Basically, that's what you tell this guy over here. Anyways, it's playing the same notes, just as the stabs. There's another massive lead over here. It's basically the one I already introduced. And let's have a look at this keys operator. It's also playing the same pattern. But it's adding this nice and bright layer to the sound. So I have the bright marimba. That one's out of the core library, so you're getting that with Ableton. If you have the collision with your Ableton version, that's what you get. Bright marimba applied over here. There's a little sidechaining compression going on as well. Really nice marimba sound. We are putting a chorus on top. We're cutting out a little bit of the lower frequencies. This one is moving. And over here there's an EQ. Basically those are already taken care of here, so it's not really necessary. But we are taking out a little bit of those belly elements over here. Then there's a 6-second reverb on top and a little bit of delay. Feedback 37, 39%, 4 to 6. Okay, and our pads down here, they're changing their note pattern a little bit. They're playing those notes now. Could actually play this note as well. I don't know why it's not in there, but it could be played as well. I really like to play around with those pad sounds. Sounds really nice in my ears. It's always adding tension. Anyways, that's what we are playing. I'm taking this out. There must be a reason for not playing it. I think I'm leaving something else there. So that's what we have here. That's our main part of this chorus. In the instrument section, is there something else? Below there's nothing else. So now we can focus on the arrangement parts a little bit more. And you see there's a swell sound over here. So what is the swell doing? That's basically taking you, swelling you in from the break, and it's announcing kind of something's going to happen here. So I'm taking this note, if I'm playing it from here, it will be louder. And it's triangle waveforms. Okay, that's how that patch is named. Let's look for that quickly. Okay, it's that sound. Well, it's a triangle wave over here, basically. That's what happens. And then we have a sidechain on top. We have an auto filter here. We have this EQing pattern over here. Not too long reverb on top, but we are automating the volume over here, and we are like kind of swelling into the chorus.
Organize society for us. Well, I don't even trust you to do that. 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 Society for us. Well, I don't even trust you to do that. I don't even trust you to do that. I don't even trust you. I don't even trust you.
So you could make this release, this decay time of the reverb a lot longer for that element, if you wanted to. We are also, of course, we are just the same way we are taking up the volume of the white noise up here. now that's the main part of this track, and we are going to prepare for a bridge part over here because we want, well, something different and interesting to happen here. And so we are taking down a little bit the other elements over here. So that one not too much, but now we are using the master filter. So right, there's a master filter here on the master. You can discuss if that's a cool thing to do or not, but I'm using it over here. And you see I'm taking it in to prepare for the bridge over here. So that's adding a low cut over here, suggesting something different is going to happen. So you're preparing your listener kind of on what's going to happen next. And we are announcing this with arpeggios as well. So I have this massive track over here, quite a similar effect chain to the ones we had before. Compression, punch and parallel, glue compression, auto panning, a little bit of low pass, low cut filtering, a little bit more low cuts, and even more low cuts. That's again a workflow thing. You can do that stream thing as well. And 5-second reverb on top and a little bit of delay. So we are using this massive sound over here. Deep house deeps, also from I think it's from the first package, massive package over here. Deep house deep is that one. So this ARP is basically, it's a bass sound, but taken up pretty high, and then we are using the sine, sine, square, and a little more square siney again over here, and we are applying a little bit of phase modulation on the first sine wave and a little bit of filter frequency modulation on the second oscillator over here. We don't use white noises. We use a DAF filter, hard clipper, and that one, a tube, and a dimension expander over here. And the Q is adding a little high shelf, just a little bit. That's basically the patch. So, and those notes are being played by the other ones as well. And that's PML presets volume 3, plug FR style. And yeah, what it's doing is saw, shaper, sine shaper, delay, reverb, low pass filter over here. That's basically the patch already. And we apply a little bit of sidechaining compression again. Punch and parallel, those are our EQs. And the one we listen to now is has a little more bass. So you see, I'm actually copying those, but I'm using different preset patches over here. Key greet is that one. We are using saw, Maleficent, modulation on the second one. of a white noise going on as well, and chorus effect over here, auto panning as well, and emphasizing those frequencies here for this element. And for the other one, we have a new element in here that's an amplifier in clean mode. So if you go to audio effects, amp, you find that one over here, put it in there, adds a little bit of dirt, and you see we emphasize around 250 over here. One's on the left, the other one is on the right. Volumes are being adjusted towards the bridge start, and then we take them down a little bit over here. And over here we just adjust a little bit the automation of the reverb. So that one over here with this macro control, this is basically automated over here. So I'm adding in some reverb towards the end over here to open it up. And I'm also opening up the auto filter and the low pass frequencies over here at the same time. And with this massive instance, I'm changing the phase. I'm using the flatten, changing the width. So the width over here controls the reverb, actually. And the second one, phase, controls the modulation of the phase of the second equalizer. And flatten the chorus. So I'm adjusting the modulation of the phase modulation, I'm adjusting the chorus, I'm adjusting the reverb. Now over here towards the end, I'm taking up some of the notes to have a little more going of the arpeggios. Of course, the bass is a little bit changed as well. I turned this pattern over here around. First we start with this note, and then we go down with this note, and then we keep the third one. So we go. So we don't change everything in the bridge, but we change a couple of things. And then we are going out into the verse, and then we are heading towards the outro of this track. As you can see, like I have another tutorial on this full arrangement of this track. It's called How to Arrange an 8-bar loop into a full song. So you can check that out. It basically shows you exactly this arrangement, and but you can see it over here as well. So we take out some claps over here, and then at the end we take out hi-hats. And then at some point we are done with the top kick. And now on our master channel we are trying to do some kind of pre-mastering with Ableton, just to have it sound a little nicer. So I'm catching some peaks with the glue compressor over here. So glue compressor mastering catch peaks. It catches the peaks of the kick. And there's also this EQ over here. We're taking out a little bit over here around 400, and we are adding a little bit of high shelf. Then we are taking the whole song a lot louder. Now I'm going to adjust the volumes for this video because this would be painful otherwise. But now we are too loud actually, as you can see, we're a little too loud. So we're clipping a little bit over there so we can take down. Now we can put on a limiter at the end. You can have the limiter work slightly, not too much. We have a couple of those massive preset packs available on our website. There's a link in the description. Also, if you're looking for this kind of drum sounds, we have the Premium, our drum package we created out of our songs, and a link to this template in the description as well. You can purchase it on our blog. I'm also going to put the link to this interesting mixing article over here into the description as well, because I think that's very, very helpful sometimes. And maybe if you're not a pro at EQing and you want to learn a little more about the subject, this is really worthwhile reading. Anyways, if you have questions, just comment below. If you like this video, subscribe to our channel, and thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you next time.